Part 2. Here are the directions for Part 2. In this part, you will hear 21 passages, A through U. Each passage will be followed by 2 questions, number 1 through number 42. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer. The passage and the questions will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
A. Gentle treatments. There are few things children hate more than the vaccination needle. Kids in the future, however, might choose to eat a genetically altered banana instead. Researchers have developed what's known as edible vaccine, a vaccine that is genetically implanted inside food. The working philosophy for doctors can be summed up in a few words: do anything and everything to restore a patient's health. But the creation of an edible vaccine follows a growing trend in the medical community, in which doctors are becoming more and more concerned about the overall welfare and comfort of the patient, rather than the effects of the treatment alone. The notable thing about such gentle treatments is that they often help people recover more quickly. Lower dosages of the same medicine have been found to be as effective as high dosages, and with fewer side effects. A pleasant hospital environment reduces stress, and that's important in order to shorten the amount of time needed for recovery.
Questions. Number 1. What trend in the medical community does the speaker mention? Number 2. What does the speaker say about gentle treatments? B. Watch those compliments. According to our new study, telling children they're smart may actually do more harm than good. We found that parents and teachers should praise children's effort instead of their intelligence. I and 2 other child motivation specialists found that praising intelligence makes it harder for children to deal with difficulty and makes them shy away from a challenge. In our study, we observed how 5th graders reacted to poor performances after they had been previously praised for their intelligence. Those students blamed their failure on their lack of intellectual ability. They focused too much on grades as a measure of personal worth. On the other hand, students who were complimented on their effort beforehand believed they were not trying hard enough and became determined to study harder. So, how should you praise your own child? Avoid saying, "Wow, you got this right. You must be very smart." Instead, tell your child, "I like the way you figured that out. You must have worked really hard."
Questions. Number 3. When students who were praised for their intelligence performed poorly, what did they place the blame on? Number 4. Why is it good to praise children's effort? C. Laughter as a medicine? A laugh a day could help keep the doctor away. It's no joke. Recent scientific findings confirm that laughter is indeed good medicine. The president of the American Association for Therapeutic Medicine says, "Imagine if you could prescribe a medication that could improve your mood while possibly improving your immune system and making you healthier. Wouldn't you prescribe it?" The positive effects of laughter have been documented by scientific research. The findings have shown that laughter increases immune system activity. For example, laughter activates T cells, cells which the immune system uses to fight against harmful germs and viruses. It also increases the quantity of gamma interferon, a natural hormone that fights viruses and regulates cell growth. The increase in gamma interferon means that laughter could actually play a positive role in fighting cancer. Barry Bittman, an expert on the connection between the mind and the body, says, "We're not saying to abandon medicine. Take this as a complementary approach. Why not use all your healing sources?
Questions. Number 5. Based on research results, how does laughter affect the health? Number 6. What is Barry Bittman's opinion regarding laughter as a medicine? D. Knee injury. Good morning, Jim. I have the results of the MRI and the X-ray we took of your knee. The news isn't good. I can see further deterioration of the cartilage. There are also some new bone spurs and signs of arthritis. You've complained about your knee locking, and I've located a loose piece of cartilage that's the likely cause. You know, this isn't unusual for professional football players like yourself, but as your doctor, I won't sugarcoat it. Without great care and a lot of luck, your playing days are numbered. The trick is to get as many good months and maybe years out of it as we can, but your knee will not return to its former strength. I recommend arthroscopic surgery to clean out the torn cartilage and remove the bone spurs. You'll certainly feel better in the short term, but reducing the amount of cartilage will leave you more susceptible to injury next season. That's the trade-off, though I don't see that you have a lot of choice.
Questions. Number 7. What does the doctor say about Jim's knee? Number 8. What does the doctor recommend that Jim do now? E. A sensitive computer. Ever wish your VCR could sense your boredom and fast forward through the dull parts of a film? How about a compact disc player that could play music based on your mood? While such ideas sound like something out of a futuristic film, researchers are working on computers that can read a person's mind by monitoring body movements. The technology is still experimental and years away from mass production. But one research group has developed computer systems that create individual emotional profiles. The system uses biorhythmic sensors attached to a user's body and tiny cameras to record facial gestures. For example, there is the Effective Tutor, a computer education program which senses a student's level of interest or frustration. The software can sense mental states like boredom, confusion, and interest, as well as emotional signs like smiles and frowns, and adjust its instruction accordingly. For some computer users, the idea of technology with insight into human emotions may be unnerving. But the researchers say these programs are about making life better for people, not controlling them.
Questions. Number 9. What is the present state of this computer technology? Number 10. According to the speaker, what does the Effective Tutor do? F. A patient's best defense. Most of us deeply trust, even revere, our family doctors. Hence, when we find ourselves in situations where second medical opinion is a good idea, when facing complicated or elective surgery, for example, we hesitate to ask. In fact, it doesn't even occur to many people to seek advice from someone other than their own doctor. Such blind faith can lead to serious complications. According to Dr. Gerald Mason, clinical professor of psychiatry at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center, a number of psychological barriers stand between patients and second medical opinions. The most common is fear of offending the doctor. Patients don't want to give the impression that they question their doctor's ability. Another is fear that the second doctor will give them worse news than the first. You may have absolute confidence in your doctor, but when major medical treatment is involved, nobody stands to gain more or lose more than you. A second medical opinion is a patient's best defense against misdiagnosis or even, in the worst case, outright malpractice.
Questions. Number 11. What constitutes the psychological barriers to getting a second medical opinion? Number 12. What does the speaker say we should do if we need an operation? G. Making hard work a crime. New labor laws are changing the workplace in France, and it's bad news to those French corporate executives who depend on hard work and long hours for their success. Government bureaucrats have started attacking big companies to make sure their executives don't work more hours than the current legal limit of 39 hours a week. Executives must be careful because the inspectors can apparently be very sneaky. Some inspectors reportedly photograph license plates in corporate parking lots after business hours to make sure executives are not working overtime. They also monitor personal notebook computers to ensure work isn't being taken home. However, many executives say that French labor laws are holding corporations back. The upcoming reduction in the legal work week to 35 hours is only increasing the complaints. We are in worldwide competition. If we lose 1 point of productivity, we lose orders, says a director of a high-tech firm, which makes half of its sales outside France. Meanwhile, the inspections have been suspended temporarily for further negotiations on how the new lower limit will be enforced and whether it really applies to executives and skilled professionals.
Questions. Number 13. What do French executives think about the new labor laws? Number 14. What is the current status of the inspections?
H. Sports News. This is Jay Jennings for WCVR Sports News. First, an amazing story from London, where today the women's marathon world record was shattered by Margola Abera of Ethiopia. Abera finished the race in just 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 26 seconds, breaking the previous record by 1 minute and 3 seconds. Although a fan favorite, Abera wasn't expected to finish in the top 10. She gave birth just 8 months ago and had knee surgery last year. Abera used a strict training program to get back in shape. She trained in the hills near her home with her husband, who accompanied her on motorcycle. Asked what motivated her, Abera said she wanted to win for her baby daughter. Speaking of records, Kenny Oliver leads after the first round of the Bank One Golf Invitational with a course record 62. Oliver also held the previous record of 63. The tournament got off to a wet start, with morning showers forcing a 2-hour delay. Looks like the weather should cooperate for the rest of the week, though. Round 2 kicks off tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Questions. Number 15. What did Margola Abera say motivated her? Number 16. What do we learn about the golf tournament?
I. Resume writing advice. Hello, Akiko. Well, I've looked through your resume, and let me say first that I'm very impressed by how good your English is. Only a few corrections were needed in spelling and grammar. But you know, there are a few things you could do to make your resume even stronger. First of all, I think it's a little too long and detailed. There are several things you could cut. For example, your GPA and clubs in college. It is interesting to know about all the countries you visited when you were a student, but it's unlikely to help you get a job. After all, you graduated over 10 years ago. Also, you're using some words or phrases too often, like completed and was responsible for. Try throwing in more action words like analyzed, developed, and initiated. Focus more on your accomplishments where possible. Here you write, I led the sales team for 4 years, but you did a lot more than that. Why don't you say something like, I managed a team of 7 salespeople and increased sales an average of 20% per year?
Questions. Number 17. What is one criticism the speaker makes about Akiko's resume? Number 18. What does the speaker advise Akiko to do to improve the resume? J. A practical subject. Teachers have long instructed students in practical subjects like home economics, but the idea of giving 16 and 17-year-olds lessons in matrimony is relatively new. High schools in more than 40 U.S. states have begun marriage education in the past 4 years. This year, Florida went a step further by mandating marriage classes as a high school graduation requirement. With half of all marriages ending in divorce, many children no longer have healthy relationships at home to serve as role models. Research shows that couples who master certain skills, like conflict resolution and active listening, are less likely to split up. Advocates of marriage classes contend that giving teens these tools early will eventually lower the divorce rate, or at least discourage teenage sweethearts from marrying hastily. Ranging from a few weeks to a semester, the courses attract both singles and dating couples. Barbara Whitehead, co-director of the National Marriage Project, says, in a consumer society where people have such easy access to the facts about consumer goods like cars and refrigerators, it's only fair to give them the facts about marriage, too.
Questions. Number 19. What is the focus of this report? Number 20. What is implied by the comparison with cars and refrigerators? K. Earthshine. The Earth, as seen from space, may be growing dimmer as it warms, according to a study conducted by California's Big Bear Solar Observatory. New observations suggest that the Earth has dimmed by about 2.5% over the past 5 years. If more observations confirm that trend, the Earth's brightness, known as Earthshine, could provide an important gauge of the health of the global climate. Scientists have known about Earthshine for hundreds of years because the dark part of the moon acts as a kind of mirror, reflecting light back to the Earth with a ghostly glow. Now, physicists have found that the Earth's brightness varies as much as 20% with the seasons, rising in the northern hemisphere's winter as more land is covered with reflective snow and ice. The key question now is whether the slow decline in Earthshine over the past 5 years is the result of global warming, or is tied instead to the well-documented 11-year cycle in the sun's magnetic activity. Scientists at Big Bear would like to work with observatories in Asia and Europe in the years ahead to gather more evidence.
Questions. Number 21. According to the speaker, what have scientists discovered about Earthshine? Number 22. What does the speaker say is the key question? L. Internet radio. Distance is no longer a barrier to how far a radio signal can reach. Free downloadable software lets you listen to live broadcasts from around the world on your computer. According to a company that helps radio stations go online, some 3,500 U.S. broadcasters have jumped onto the Internet at least part-time. Audiences are small but growing. But just as Internet radio listeners have gotten hooked on the idea, they may be facing quieter days. Many U.S. stations have suspended Internet broadcasts because of demands by unionized performers for royalties when their commercials run online. In total, some 500 of the biggest and most popular stations have at least temporarily suspended their web broadcasts, and others are following suit. Still, the picture's not all bleak. Most U.S. station owners say they hope to return to the Internet, either with new royalty arrangements or with the help of automated controls that can block disputed ads from going online. Some stations are removing ads altogether, and others are inserting ones sold specifically for Internet broadcast. Selling Internet-specific ads, in fact, may be a precursor to making web broadcasting pay off.
Questions. Number 23. Why have many radio stations stopped broadcasting on the Internet? Number 24. What are some radio stations doing to make Internet broadcasts more profitable?
M. Warranty cards. You know those warranty cards that you get when you buy a new product? You've got to fill them out and send them in if you want that 1-year guarantee for your new coffee pot, right? Wrong. That's just what the manufacturers want you to think. The real reason they want you to send in the card is to get customer information for their marketing data, things like where you live, where you shop, how you heard about the product. In other words, is their advertising working? As a matter of fact, a warranty covers a new appliance regardless of whether you mail the warranty card back in or not. Now, there can be a good reason to mail in a warranty card, but it's not for the warranty. It's in the remote possibility that there's a defect in the product and it needs to be recalled by the manufacturer. So, depending upon the complexity of the product, a TV, for instance, you might want to mail in that card. But if you care about your privacy, only include your name, address, the model, and serial number.
Questions. Number 25. According to the speaker, why do manufacturers ask customers to mail in warranty cards? Number 26. When would a warranty card actually become necessary? N. A movie review. Welcome to 5 Stars Movie Review. I'm your host, James Ebertson. Today we look at this winter's latest release, Sister World. The film's premise is captivating, that a sister planet to Earth is circling the sun on the other side of the sun, which is why we on Earth can't see it. The story becomes even more interesting when we realize that each of us has a nearly identical counterpart on the other planet. Scientists on both planets discover each other's existence at the same time. But here is where the movie runs into trouble. The 2 Earth scientists and their alien copies are played by Raymond Brand and Crystal Sykes, both as close to scientific genius as Coco the gorilla, the difference being that a gorilla would be a better actor. These cardboard characters rocket off to Sister Earth never to return, while their counterparts land on our Earth and meet the U.S. president, who also has an uncanny resemblance to Coco the gorilla. And that's just the first 20 minutes. I'm giving this movie 1 star, and that's only because I'm not allowed to give it 0.
Questions. Number 27. What is the main premise of the movie? Number 28. What was the speaker trying to illustrate by mentioning Coco the gorilla?
O. The Halifax Incident. Welcome to Our History, Extra FM's weekly look into the past. December 6, 1917 was a calamitous day for the people of Halifax, Nova Scotia. World War I was still raging, but it was no battle that caused the deaths of around 1,900 local people and injured over 9,000 others. Two ships, one a French supply ship loaded with high explosives, collided in the harbor. 20 minutes later, the abandoned French ship suddenly blew up, creating the biggest man-made explosion of the pre-nuclear age. Of those not killed instantly, an exceptionally high number of people were injured by flying glass, as locals had been staring out of their windows when the ship blew sky high. Fortunately, rescue efforts saved many. Assistance came from countries as far away as the UK, New Zealand, and China. But it is the generosity of the U.S. state of Massachusetts that the people of Halifax remember most. To this day, Halifax sends a Christmas tree to Boston, the capital of Massachusetts, every year to express its gratitude. Today, there are few survivors left to tell their remarkable stories, but Halifax will never forget that fateful day.
Questions. Number 29. What was the initial cause of the incident? Number 30. Why were so many local people injured when the ship blew up? P. Clues to gecko glue. Nature is full of mysteries. One that has remained since the great thinker Aristotle first saw them is how geckos, small lizards, manage to scurry up a wall at a meter a second, then dangle off it, holding on with only a single toe. Now, more than 2 millennia later, scientists have finally solved the riddle. The secret lies in the hair on geckos' feet. The gecko uses millions of microscopic hairs on its feet to stick to smooth surfaces. Each tiny hair has even tinier pads at the tip, which increase surface contact with whatever the gecko is climbing. The molecules of these pads are attracted to the molecules of the surface of the wall. And with billions of these pads, the gecko obtains amazing adhesive power. Thanks to this discovery, scientists have been able to create gecko-like hairs from 2 different materials. Not surprisingly, both materials made effective adhesives. Now there is a new challenge. Scientists hope to use this technology to manufacture a dry adhesive that works underwater and in outer space. It will be no easy feat, but scientists will continue the search until they find a solution that sticks.
Questions. Number 31. What is the secret behind the gecko's climbing ability? Number 32. What does the speaker say is the new challenge? Q. The professor's comments. Good afternoon, class. Before I return your final exams to you, I'd like to make a few comments. First off, let me say that I've truly enjoyed being your professor. It's not often that a teacher finds himself in the position of being a student, but that's how I've felt this semester. Your views and ideas have challenged me to see things from a different perspective, and I deeply appreciate that. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but apparently that doesn't apply to old professors. Having said that, considering all the time we spent on this material, I can't say I'm thrilled with the test results. In fact, I'm afraid some of you, and I think you probably know who you are, may be joining me again next semester. Not that I wouldn't enjoy having you. Something to keep in mind. Out there in the real world, the stakes are a lot higher. You can fail my course and take it again, but life isn't always that forgiving. Your future boss won't be this nice. Well, enough lecturing. When I call your name, please come and get your test.
Questions. Number 33. What did the professor imply about the overall experience of teaching the class? Number 34. What point was the professor trying to make about the real world? R. The right stuff. Welcome to every cook's favorite program, Food Fair. On today's menu, stuffing. Did you know that stuffing is sometimes called farce? Well, in the Middle Ages, farce was a short, comical play stuffed between lengthy religious rituals to keep the audience from becoming bored. Later, the word was used to describe the meat mixture stuffed into sausage skins. Interesting stuff. Today, when most of us hear the word stuffing, we visualize a mixture of breadcrumbs and herbs crammed into the empty cavity of a turkey or goose. Stuffing, though, can be very versatile. Creativity is the key. Italians like sausage in their stuffing, and Germans often use potato and fruit. Adding spices will help you create your very own special stuffing. Stuffing should be prepared just before cooking. Fresh is best. And, before I forget, a word of warning. Stuffing can be a breeding ground for dangerous bacteria if left in poultry for more than an hour. So don't stuff the bird until you're ready to pop it in the oven. After all, Christmas should be spent with your family, not your physician. All right, I'll give you some scrumptious stuffing ideas after this short break, so don't go away.
Questions. Number 35. What did the word farce mean in the Middle Ages? Number 36. What danger does the speaker warn of when using stuffing? S. The game of life. Video games have often had to face the wrath of parents, educators, and the medical establishment. Now, though, one particular game, called Ben's Game, is escaping such ire. The brainchild of 9-year-old Ben Duskin, the video game is designed to help young children with cancer understand the disease and the effects that medicine has on their bodies. A leukemia sufferer himself, Ben was well qualified to advise programmer Eric Johnston on what the key features of the game should be. The hero is a young boy on a skateboard who represents a child suffering from cancer. For Ben, the most important feature is that the boy can't actually be killed. Ben also wanted to keep the game simple, so even young people could understand it. Eric and Ben created monsters that represent the side effects of cancer. When the monsters attack the boy, he has to race to the hospital to pick up health, or to a pharmacy to collect ammo to fight the monsters. On the way, though, the boy suffers emotional setbacks, just like cancer patients in real life. Ben said that he just wants kids with cancer to be strong and fight the disease, and hopefully even have some fun.
Questions. Number 37. Why did Ben decide to make the game? Number 38. What is the most important aspect of the game for Ben?
T. Pompeii Tour. Welcome to Pompeii. My name is Benedict, and I will be your guide as we walk through the ruins of this ancient city. In the distance, you can see the temperamental Mount Vesuvius. Although an earthquake in AD 62 gave a hint of what Vesuvius could do, most people still weren't afraid of the sleeping giant. But on August the 24th, AD 79, a major eruption darkened the skies over Pompeii. Ash, pumice, and gases descended on the city from a giant cloud, killing the 2,000 people who still remained. Then a wave of molten rock buried the city. It's believed that most of the population had fled the city before the eruption. Okay, over there you can see what is left of a Roman forum. This large open area was the heart of commercial, political, and religious activity in the city. On that fateful day, the marketplace was probably bustling with hawkers and buyers. A few others were paying their respects at the Temple of Jupiter. Although most Romans had abandoned their traditional faith by the 1st century, they still observed the various religious holidays, and they kept shrines in memory of dead relatives. Follow me now while we pass the destroyed Temple of Jupiter.
Questions. Number 39. What does the speaker say about the events of AD 79? Number 40. According to the speaker, what do we know about Romans in the 1st century?
U. Car Club. Welcome to Car Club, motor maniacs. This week I road tested Lancelli's newest flagship, the SS-20, a huge cut above its predecessor, the SS-10. Although it retains the trademark headlights, the engine and design, which took 4 years to perfect, are new. Worth the wait? I'll say, and well worth the higher price tag. This is one mean machine. Gone is the gas-guzzling engine and the old-fashioned boxy exterior of the SS-10. This baby is slicker, faster, and sportier, and with a front-mounted turbo engine that cranks out 284 horsepower, it's a supermodel with muscle. The exterior is silkily sleek, yet the interior offers plenty of room for 2 adults. The leather seats are ergonomically designed, low and sexy. If there is a downside, it must be the profusion of dials and buttons on the control panel, more like a 747 than an automobile. And noise? There isn't any. The only sound you hear is the gasps of the other drivers as you glide by at 160 miles per hour. For safety, this Lancelli is satisfactory, but no prize winner. But hey, this is a sports car, not a baby car. Overall, this monster is a winner that oozes class. 8.5 out of 10.
Questions. Number 41. Which consumer category is the new model most likely designed for? Number 42. What does the speaker find somewhat unsatisfactory about the new model?
これでこの CD は終わりです。